All right, well, Zach's an ass.
You know, that's awkward. I never added myself to the stage, so I was sitting here just saying stuff. I was like, chat, how long do you think it takes until he realizes we're live? And then that obviously wasn't coming through because I didn't add myself to the stage. So in the end, I played myself. I
In other
apologize.
words, you're a dick.
In other words, I just got to learn to add myself to the stage.
Yeah, do your job.
I am trying my best here. Let me turn this music down a little bit. We got 25 people in here. We appreciate all of you being in here. A little bit different of a setup than normal. We are all going remote today, I would have to say.
Yep, we got no one to blame but you.
Excuse me.
Am I wrong?
Why exactly is that?
All right, allergy boy.
Oh, it's bad. I don't want to hear it from you, though. You're usually the one with just literally everything, I guess, going
But I
wrong.
always show up, don't I?
You want to talk about the last pod?
I was at work.
Oh, but I thought you always showed up.
When I'm sick, I always show up, for the most part.
To be fair, you know who's always here? Johnny.
Fair.
Are you able to read comments or no?
Nope. No, I cannot.
It is unfortunate, actually.
Do I have to log in for that?
I have zero clue. It might just be like the main, like the host that can see the comments. But we do have 28 of you in here. So how is everyone else feeling that is not either Zach Canada, which is part of the show, or Johnny, who we know and love? But 26 other of you in here. What's going on? Oh, Mamba's going off in the background.
Uh-oh. What do you got going on? Oh, wait, there we go. I see comments.
There we go. We figured it out. I'd say there's a lot to discuss. Johnny says his team needs to have a serious look in. Yeah. So far, it's been another start to the season, I'd say. And I feel like we shouldn't be getting used to this. This shouldn't be a thing.
No, like, honestly, I was rewatching Suits today, and one of the things that I heard from the infamous Harvey Specter, of course, if you start behind the 8 ball, you're never going to get out in front of it. And I feel like that's just like a reoccurring theme that we have right now.
Yeah. If we want to get to where we know that we can be, and I think almost all of us predicted to be in like very good spots this year, it's got to start differently. You said like maybe the points at the beginning of the season don't matter, but they do.
They really do.
You fall 6 points behind at the beginning of the season, and you are where you are. So,
like, we had a great. I'd say I speak for most of us. I think we had a pretty decent year last year. We didn't win anything, but I mean, second in the Supporter Shield, finishing to the losers or finishing to the winners in the MLS Cup. Have we won those?
What do you mean? Cincinnati was above us.
I know. I'm saying in the MLS Cup, we lost to Columbus, who went on to win the whole thing. You good?
No.
Heard. No, but I'm saying, had we won those games at the start of the season, the ones that we should have to begin with, we wouldn't have been in that position. We would have won the Shield. Probably would have had a better time in the MLS Cup, having all home games.
Correct. And now we're semi-improvement this year. We went out in the first round last year of the Champions Cup, or then Champions League, and now second round this year to the same team, unfortunately. But it's, again, an early exit for us in this competition. And we did see improvement what it was after the Champions Cup. Was it due to us being knocked out? Do you think the fixture congestion last year kind of helped us out, or did we just like find our groove and Oscar found that double pivot with Cartagena and Araujo?
I don't know. I don't like, we talk about fixture congestion, but like, let's be honest, Leagues Cup, there's a whole month set aside for it. We're not even playing in the Open Cup. All we have right now is just the MLS. Like this, there's no reason for us to be worried about fixture congestion right now at this point.
Anymore, yeah. Before Tuesday night, you couldn't, like, there was a decent amount of travel.
Correct. I don't know what the fuck's going on with my computer right now.
I don't know. I am getting the StreamYard link out now. I forgot to put it out as we went live, but it is now in the tweet. I'm sorry, under the tweet of our video if you're watching us on Twitter. And it is about to be in the description of the YouTube video. Bang. And there you go. It should be out for everybody. If you got something to say, which I'm sure everybody has a lot to say after Tuesday and just basically the whole start to the season for Orlando City fans. It's great.
God, I love when StreamYard's not working on my laptop.
No, you're fine. You're still here.
Ooh. God, excited. Uh-oh. Hello?
Yeah, you're good. You've been fine.
Okay, heard.
Okay.
Oh, it's glitching out on my end.
Heard. Johnny says that this is not Oscar's fault. This is above him, but I will hold my tongue until I am done eating. Fair enough. I mean, above him? What? If you're speaking about Moreira and Muzi, I feel like they've done a brilliant job, but there are some like depth pieces if we're talking about recruiting and who we bring in that could be better. There's an obvious one, but it's a couple years ago.
Sorry, I'm trying to fix up. Yeah, I mean, we can try to blame Oscar, but like we had chances. We had so many chances against was it Minnesota that we played here? Like that, I don't see how that would be on Oscar. I mean, I don't. I think he's right at this point. It's kind of the same thing we're kind of seeing with what's it called United. As much as I don't want to get into that, but you see it happen where like they did so good last season, but then you come into this season, it's kind of like a completely different team. But I don't think it's down to the manager. I think it's down to the players.
Yeah, I mean, I think Facundo has practically underperformed this whole season. We still, at least in my eyes, we still truly don't know exactly what we have with Ojeda. Nico Lodero's been, we saw him in the preseason game against Fluminense, and then Flamengo, sorry. And I think we were all very excited, but it's kind of been like on a downturn. So everything is kind of pointing in the wrong direction in my eyes right now. And I don't know what exactly has to happen to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, we're down Caesar. I expected him to be out for like 2 to 3 months, but apparently he's only a couple weeks, I heard. So hopefully we get that double pivot back. But I mean, I think top to bottom, like we expected Muriel to kind of show out right away, which he hasn't been doing. Cartagena was my pick for MVP this year. He's looked like ass. Caesar hasn't looked great. You've barely seen Rafael Santos play over Kyle Smith, which is kind of something. Facundo's been a shell of himself. Ojeda hasn't looked great. Lodero hasn't looked good since the preseason Fluminense game. I mean, the only consistent players I've seen so far are Robin and Brecalo. I mean, I can't even say that Pedro's been good this year because he's had 2 or 3 mistakes up until this point this year alone.
Yeah. That's another massive talking point is Pedro. Just of what we've seen this year, it hasn't been great. Maybe we can move into that a little bit later, but I'm going to head back to chat, see what's going on. JM says, no, I think getting knocked out of the Open Cup woke everyone up. So not going out of the Champions Cup, but it was the Open Cup because I think it was the first round exit to Charlotte. They were playing at that small stadium. Yeah, that was disappointing. If that woke us up, fair play. I hope I'm saying your name right now. Isaias, I think, says with Araujo out for an unknown amount of time, Cartagena red and call-ups, Brecalo call-ups all coming up. We're going to struggle for a while this season.
Correct.
Yeah, it could be a rough month and a half start to the season, but then if you start that poorly, you're digging yourself out of a massive hole to try and get out of. Never a good thing.
No, it's just going to be frustrating because as much as we don't want to see Rodrigo, we don't really have another center back. I mean, yeah, we could see Thomas Williams come in. We could see Kyle Smith potentially play that right center back role. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, we don't have a clear quality third choice center back right now.
I would almost say it's okay. Well, the obvious answer so far this season has been Rodrigo Schlegel, but to us, it just shouldn't be. after what we've seen this season. And then there's also Abdi Salim. So who knows what's going on? Naby Kibanguchi was pretty good for OCB last year, but he hasn't really got the call up to be in the first team. So who knows what is going to happen? Like I said, we don't have that clear third choice.
Like I said quality as of this season so far, and even going back to the last game of last season, Rodrigo he hasn't been quality. You've seen time after time, mistake after mistake. It's just been chaotic. It's been all over the place. There's no consistency with him. It's just looked shambolic.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. This is my time to remind you, all 43 of you that are in here, please hit that like button if you're on YouTube, like it on Twitter, share it, subscribe if you haven't already. And then I also got to let you know about the StreamYard link that is down in the description of the YouTube video, and it is right below our tweet. It's a reply to the tweet of the live stream. So if you want to hop on, talk some footy, literally anything footy, doesn't have to be Orlando City. I'm sure that a large majority of you are Orlando City fans and you want to get something off your chest from Tuesday. So let us know. In the meantime, JM in chat says Duncan is really the only highlight so far, and he's probably leaving. Yeah, I mean, he had a brace against Minnesota. He played well. Can't really fault him. Definitely not the reason that we lost. But then it ends up being a loss. And so you kind of just got to be like, it's unfortunate that happened in a loss.
No, yeah. I mean, his first goal was really good. Fastest goal record, thank God, took down Tesho's record. The second goal was an absolute strike. Like, that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Shout out, what was his name? I can't remember. He was like a 20-year-old Mexican center back. I can't remember what his name was, but number 4, he sat off and just let Duncan have a hit and golazo. So that was great. What's up? How's it going? Say hi, Dave.
What?
To the comment. You're not.
Oh, I can't. I literally can't see. Like, if I could show you, I can send you a picture of what my screen looks like right now.
I think
anything.
Well, I think the people can hear you, so that's all that matters. They don't really need to see you. Mr. Dark Dragon 456 says it's still early. We shouldn't be panicking yet, in my honest opinion. Solid foundation, and MLS is a long season. I don't disagree with anything you said there. I don't think we should be panicking yet, but at the same time, 2 seasons in a row where we start pretty badly, like I said earlier, you can't be complacent with starting horrifically at the beginning of the season because it just digs you a massive hole. So shouldn't be panicking, yes, but also it's starting to become a trend that we start poorly at the beginning of the season, and you have to watch out for that.
Yeah, I mean, panicking is not the word I would use, but definitely some areas of concern, especially with no open cup. We're down to 3 potential trophies. One of them is the Leagues Cup, which, let's be honest, no one really cares about that. One, the MLS Cup, which of course everyone has a chance because 65 teams make it, and then the Supporter Shield, which, I mean, if, like I said, we start behind the 8 ball, it's going to be really hard to catch up because again, some of these really good teams.
Yeah, you're just going to use that quote from Harvey for a long time, aren't you?
Damn straight.
All right.
It's true though.
Anybody else been going through it with allergies so far this week?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. If I sound congested, I'm sorry, chat. You're just going to have to deal with it. It's not a great week. With Directo Al Marco, what a name. I've seen so much hate against Galicia. The people either has forgotten how he plays or it is just a bunch of new fans. I don't want to hate the guy. I don't hate the guy. He's been great for our club, but you got to admit that the beginning of the season hasn't been his best, nor has it really been good.
No, he's definitely regressed. No, he's definitely regressed. I mean, the first one that he gave up, the ball that he tried playing out, is kind of unfortunate. But again, you expect Pedro to not make that mistake. But then the one that we saw against Tigres, where he's completely out of position, you're kind of sitting there scratching your head thinking, this isn't the Pedro that I've seen the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. The first one, can you draw it up to a bad bounce? Maybe, but you still expect Pedro to do better. And then their fourth goal, when we were up a man, because their midfielder got that red card for kicking Enrique in the face. Long distance shot. Maybe Pedro was trying to read like a through ball. I believe there's a possibility of, but then it's just not a great look to let that fourth goal go in.
It's not a great look, and that's not Pedro. Like, let's be honest, the Pedro that we know, he's making the two saves that we saw that were ridiculous from a yard out. He's doing all the routine things, but this is not the same Pedro that we've been seeing the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, correct. The same Pedro that we've been seeing the past 3 to 4 years is the one that was always vying for top 3 keeper in the league. Probably not 3, and vying for that 1 to 2 spot. Mm-hmm. And you can't say at the beginning of the season that he is a top 3 keeper in the league.
No, 100%. I mean, I feel like this season so far, only bright spot, aside from maybe Duncan, has been Robin's performances. I think Robin's looked really good, albeit under pretty bad circumstances, but he's the only one that's putting in consistent performances.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I've said this on the pod, but I think I've said it about his passing. I think Brekalo has been a solid 6.5 out of 10 for every match. I think he's good aerially, but then you put the ball at his feet and he tries to dribble up, he tries to take a space, he tries to find a pass, but then that pass is misplaced, or he just loses the ball. I think there was one dribble that he tried to attempt against Tigres, and the ball just got taken off of him, and they countered. So you can be as great in the air as you want in clearing the ball, but I don't know. It's something about losing the ball coming out of the back that you just can't have, because then they could have an easy 2-on-1 situation, and it just leads to an easy goal for them.
And I mean, Brekalo hasn't been great on the ball, but let's be honest, really, who has? Like, we've seen Wilder give up the ball easily. We've seen Caesar give up the ball, led to a goal. Just the care for possession, it just hasn't been there this year. It feels like everything's sloppy. Everyone's just trying to ping a pass just because they can.
Yeah, I don't disagree. The thoughts on Muriel so far? I'm hoping for the best, but so far not impressed. So in our group chat between the 4 OC Fan TV guys, I think we had a discussion about this. I brought up the fact that at Atalanta, he was almost always playing in a 2-striker system. In his prime at Atalanta, he was playing alongside Duvan Zapata. Zapata was a very physical, athletic presence, and it was just someone to play off of. He was the more technical striker, and Zapata was, I'm going to go win the ball in the air, and I'm going to put you on the ground. Pretty much, he was just a brute force. So the choice to possibly play Muriel alongside Duncan, who can be that kind of Zapata type player, it's there, but then it messes up the formation, and then we don't have the depth other places to make that happen, I would say.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, going forward, we could potentially kind of move into a 2-striker look, because I haven't been the biggest fan of Angulo this season, and I don't think Facundo has been particularly great either this year. So we could potentially see one of those two kind of slide out of the picture and make way for someone like Muriel or Duncan to start at the same time.
Yeah. Then you got to look at the back line and see what happens there too, depending on what formation you go with. At Atalanta, I'm sorry, moving my mic makes sense. At Atalanta, it was a 3-4-1-2, or it was like an attacking mid right behind the 2 strikers. Then you got your wing backs on the outside going up and down. So I feel like we have that ability, because you want to get Rafael Santos up the pitch to get the crosses in. Dagger Dan can also venture forward. But then your back 3, we don't have the depth in the back line to be playing a back 3 right now, because then it either goes Robin, Brekalo, Schlegel, Robin, Brekalo, Abdi Salim, Thomas Williams, etc. So unfortunately, it's just not an option right now, because the quality in one of those positions is just not good enough.
No, yeah, 100%. I say we don't have, like I said before, we don't have depth. We have Thomas Williams and maybe Kyle Smith to play in that back line, but aside from that, that's all we have.
That's true. Kyle Smith can't play center back, but then you play that for 3 matches in a row, everybody's tired, and then you have to rotate or go back to a different formation. Who knows what happens at that point?
Yeah, it's not particularly a position you want to be in. Like you said, there's been some guys on OCB that we could potentially use, but I mean, it'd be kind of tough for them to kind of be thrust into that position.
Mm-hmm. Going back to the comments, Directo says, "Yeah, I get it. Most players are underperforming, but it is not all on Galese. He can save the whole team. He can. He can stand on his head when he needs to. We just haven't fully seen it yet this season. I would say.
If he could save the Titanic, but as of right now, it's looking really shaky.
Yeah, bouncing shot right in front of him. That'll go past Titanic. Stays afloat. JM says Miami killed his Outer Fort Lauderdale. I'm sorry, killed his confidence. Could have been, but we've also seen him probably concede a good amount of goals or not have a great match, and him bounce back and have a fantastic match right after. So I don't think he's a player that gets affected like that mentally and then performs as bad.
Yeah, but not only that, none of those goals were his fault. Like, let's be honest, maybe he could have done better on one, maybe two of them, but
first one definitely not.
I
was gonna say first one definitely not. I want to see if we can run through this. I'm trying to remember all of them. First one was Suarez just put it top bins off of Caesar's bad pass.
Mm-hmm.
Second one was that Robert Taylor or did he, no? Because Suarez had two right away.
Suarez had a brace. I think that's when Taylor chipped it over Schlegel when he was out of position or he stepped up.
Oh yeah. And then the third one was Robert Taylor. There was just a sweat goal. He can't do anything about it. Fourth one was going down the other end. Second half, both of those were Messi had a header, and then he had the one where it just kind of dribbled off his chest, and Robin had that save off the posts.
No, yeah, like none of those were his fault. The Tigres game, he had a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And Minnesota game, he had a mistake. But again, those are mistakes that we don't see from Pedro. Like
Exactly.
he's the one guy you don't expect it from, which is worrying.
Him and Robin,
you
can expect consistency from.
And knock on wood, but I have not seen one from Robin so far.
There you go. Isaiah says, if we make the playoffs and get knocked out again early, where would you guys stand on Perez's position? Would you be content with just making playoffs? This is a conversation for not 3 league matches in. I prefer not to comment on Oscar's position right now. If you were listening last year, I think you know where we all stood. But at this point, you give him a new contract. You just got to stand by him. The club the club did what they think is best, and I am a supporter of this club, so I am going to stand by their decision until it is obvious that it has to change.
Sure. Yep, we'll go with that one.
Let's see. Oh my gosh, I think besides the playoffs, if we make top 4 at the end of the regular season, I'd be content. But you gotta want trophies. That's the only thing.
It's a top 4, like that's what kind of sucks about American sports. Like being just good enough really isn't good enough. Like what does top 4 get you in American sports?
I was gonna try to figure. I don't know if someone in chat can let us know, but it might be a CCC spot. Don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure it was only if you win something. Like maybe the runner-up of the what's it called?
We didn't win. Shield? We didn't win anything last year, but I think we only were in this year because we won the Open Cup.
No, I thought it was because the Supporter Shield, the runner-up for the Supporter Shield gets in.
I don't know. Just make it top 4, like everywhere else, or top. Probably, well, in the Americas, it's probably like top 60% of the teams get a spot because American sports.
Just have a best of 64 now. Make it a World Cup format.
You see,
just have,
off topic. Today or yesterday, they announced that they are holding the U17 World Cup every single year. There goes Dave. Can you talk? Are you here? Oh, Dave got kicked out. Let's see if I can entertain you guys. I'm going to try to find this tweet about the U20 World Cup because it is being held every year. And for the first 5 years, it's in Qatar. But it's a U17 World Cup every single year, which I just don't find right. U17 World Cup. Dave is back. Wow.
Apologies. I knew this was going to happen. Something was wrong with it, and it just crashed.
There you
Yeah.
go. I don't know if you heard what I was saying, but I just found the tweet from the Secret Scout. FIFA have announced a 48-team U17 World Cup that will be held every year. In the next 5 tournaments will be hosted by Qatar. The U17 Women's World Cup has expanded to 24 teams and to be hosted for the next 5 years by Morocco.
So everyone's just in it for the money.
Yeah,
That's what that
game,
sounds like.
Yeah. That's right. Everything is being turned into money. Why do we need a U17 World Cup? Why do we need any World Cup every single year? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, the whole point of the World Cup is to make it a worldwide event. The whole point is you go from a place like England to Qatar to the U.S. Like, it's supposed to be around the globe. If you put it in one spot, how do you expect everyone to get there? Like, it really kills the fun of it.
And then it kills the specialty of it, for a lack of better words. Like, every 4 years, then it's like something to look forward to. But if it's every single year, it's not as special.
Yeah, especially if it's in the same spot, like, no one's gonna care. It's just gonna turn into another quote unquote tournament. Yeah, like you said, it loses its meaning.
Back to Orlando. Hey, 69 people in here. Nice. Thoughts on the game this Sunday? I will be up there. Kanata will be up there, and Bryce will be up there. The man over here will be working.
Yep, y'all have fun. I got duties to attend to back at home.
But to the game, Brekalo is most likely going to be gone. Then you got Cartagena's suspension. Facundo is out of form. Ladero's out of form. Muriel's out of form. Like, it could
Everyone's
go
out of form minus Robin.
Duncan.
Yeah. Maybe Enrique. He's been one of our bright spots so far.
Yeah, but then he doesn't get a start. It's like Mudryk scores and then he doesn't get a start next game. Just doesn't make sense.
And we're just talking about in form. He's looked like our only competent winger so far.
It's also fair. Directo says the honest question is: do we have the players to win the tournament or at least get to a final? To win the tournament? What tournament are we talking about?
I'm thinking he's saying MLS Cup or
You got to think. I'm sorry. I think Johnny said earlier. I got to pull up the MLS table because I think he said we were 9 points behind now. We'll probably have a game in hand.
9 points behind what?
Top of the table. Let's see. Table.
No, 6.
7 point. Yeah, top of the table is 7. We have 1, so we're still 6 points behind. So
1 point in 3 games is fucking awful.
Yeah, it's not great. We have, Atlanta next. Johnny says no. I mean, we should have 9 points. Heard. I don't think at this rate, if we're just talking about right now, I don't think we can win the league. The League's Cup is a different story. Don't really care about it anyway. Open Cup we're not playing in. Champions Cup we're already out of. So it's up in the air.
I mean, with on paper, we should be a top 3 team. The way we've played so far, we are quite literally a bottom 5 team, which to me is ridiculous because going into the season, I never would have thought that.
Yeah, even with fixture congestion, you should still be doing well. There is that stat though. Someone has been keeping records of the MLS teams that are playing in Champions Cup, and almost all of us are not doing great. Nashville hasn't won a game yet. They've drawn all 3. Philly obviously got smacked around on Tuesday, just like we did. They've only played 2 league matches. They've drawn both. Who else has been in Champions Cup? Columbus is doing fine. 2 wins and a draw. Fort Lauderdale's obviously up there. 2 wins, draw, loss. So you see other teams doing well. There's just something going on with us.
Yeah, it's frustrating for sure.
Isaiah again says, on paper, we should, but the question, I think, is whether or not we have the right coach for these players. Yes, he picked them, but that doesn't mean they are able to play the way he wants to. He switched it up last year with that double pivot in Araujo and Cartagena, and it was possibly the best midfield. Well, the best midfield we've probably seen as Orlando City fans, and one of the best, if not the best, in the league last year.
100%. Like nothing has really changed aside from losing Antonio Carlos. Like the lineup for, I think it was Minnesota, was the exact same lineup that we had all throughout the second half of the season. The only difference is that we end up losing for 4-2 or
3-2
3
against Minnesota.
3-2. That's right. Like that's the only difference. Maybe to me it could just be a mentality thing. Like yeah, we can say Oscar out as much as we want, but at the end of the day, he got the job done towards the end of the season, barring what was it, Columbus game.
Apologies. It wasn't even the end of the season. It was after the first 10 games. Then we turned up and absolutely killed it. So technically, you can say that we have a 7-match gap to get to where we want to be, but you don't like that shouldn't be a thing. We should just be starting the season hot already.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't look. Yeah, sorry, you got it.
Yucker Torque on Twitch, Amazon Prime sub. What's going on, guys? As a Lions fan, I wanted to get y'all's opinion on the state of the Lions franchise after what in the? Yeah, this is a bot.
Wrong Lions.
Oh wait, is it a bot? If it's not a bot, I don't know. I like Dan Campbell, great guy. There you go.
Let's go Jets. I should have put the hat on.
Thank you for Jordan Whitehead again. I appreciate you giving us back
You're
to
welcome.
him. It's U17. It's not like a ton of people go. Yeah, but it's just the principle of having the World Cup every 4 years, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is, it may not sound like a big deal, but it starts with the U17. Next thing you know, the World Cup's every year in Barbados or Qatar. Like it'll start one place, and then you'll see the ripple effects.
I think there was already talks about it moving to 2 years. Oh,
I thought it was 3, potentially.
Might have. Who knows? We got a third member of Orlando City Fan TV in here.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Wait. Where is... Oh, there it is. All right.
The applause button.
Hey. What's up, boys?
Welcome in.
How's it going, chat? How's it going, everybody?
I don't have the... What's the little buttons on the side? I don't have them linked into the sound.
You put the boo on or something?
Oh, I did crickets.
I knew it was something. We like the little cameo from Dave at the beginning while you were still trying to figure out everything.
Yeah. Did you hear what happened?
I'm charging my phone, so I'm not getting any messages. And I see a text and a FaceTime from this dickhead.
Yeah, I thought I was being clever. Little did I know that I thought I had him solo layout, and I was already added to the stage. I was behind him, so I'm here talking, and it just wasn't going out to anyone.
All right, so sorry to interrupt the conversation you guys were having. What are we talking about?
We've just been going through chat, really. We just had a guy come through about the Detroit Lions. So, wrong Lions, but...
Okay.
Dan Campbell's a great guy, right?
Yeah.
And then we're just kind of going through chat.
Got you.
Unfortunately, no one has decided to use the StreamYard links, but I'm sure y'all have stuff to say. Just being a little, as Dave said, dickhead about it. There you go.
Use my words.
Oh, that's right. I don't want to dox somebody. You said, see you guys there. You're in Atlanta. We met up. Me and Bryce met up with him when Chelsea was up there in Atlanta.
Yeah, I would definitely have to do it again. I feel like we were planning on reaching out to you. So
yeah, I've got to find a pub up in Atlanta to watch Chelsea Leicester Saturday morning because we're winning the FA Cup.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, I mean 9 points. Directo net worth. What are we doing? Net worth of OC Fan TV is probably like $4.32.
That's
I got $2 in cash in my wallet.
$6.
Maybe up it by 2.
I had some quarters on my desk somewhere.
I do have one right behind my laptop.
There you go.
$2.25.
Correct. We are not up there for sure, so not sure if we have the players. That's heard. We are not up there for sure, so not sure if we have the players. I think he's referring to the league table.
No, we definitely do. I mean, we finished second in the Supporter Shield, beat the beat both top teams in the West and the East. Only lost to Columbus because they were the hotter team going into that game. We definitely do.
It's a disconnect. There's something going on right now. Like, we just have to be honest. I mean, I know you guys have probably said it already, but there's just something fundamentally not working with this team, and we've just got to go into it and figure it out and move from there. I mean, the Pedro thing, I heard you guys talking about that. For me, I think he's got something going on off the field. I know a couple of people have said something like that on Twitter. I'm kind of on the same page. You don't see somebody like this go through a patch like they're going through without there being an external factor. There's something going on in his personal life. I feel like that's distracting him at the moment.
Yeah, we kind of had a discussion about the Fort Lauderdale match kind of just taking his confidence down a level, and that's why. And I was like, that, but he's not that kind of player to let one match like that just get in his head. So that's a very real possibility off the field, which in that case, you just hope for the best.
Yeah, the club's got to support him in everything that they can, make sure they give him the resources to help him with whatever he's going through. Mm-hmm. Hopefully going back with the national team, he gets some confidence. He gets whatever it is that he's going through fixed, and he comes back a different person.
Speaking of a different person, we just had a Canada in. Johnny, I'm guessing you finished eating your dinner. Let's go. I'm so glad that we can see you.
I don't look decent, so it's okay.
Fair. Yep. That's nothing new.
So I've been thinking about this all week, and I actually wrote down notes because I'm going to be constructive and have some organization instead of just rambling. Okay. I'm going to say some things that a lot of people may not like. I'm going to keep it G-rated. It's going to be completely G-rated. We're not going to raise our voice. We're going to have a real...
I don't know about that one.
Real talk.
You got a record number of people in here on a stream for Orlando City Fan TV, so if there's a time for this, it's now.
Perfect. The folks that want Oscar out have no idea what it's like to work in management from people above who will not give you the resources to do the job. They have never worked in a field where you are told to give 150% when only given 40% of your resources, and the expectation is not there. Quite frankly, I don't blame Oscar as much for the losses as a lot of people are saying. I think it's important that we recognize that Oscar is a good coach. He got us to the second place of the Supporter Shield last year, so his ability to coach is there. And like you all said, everything really hasn't changed from last season except for Antonio Carlos. But you're forgetting one thing. The league has changed. The league has gotten better again. And what has our ownership done is nothing. They brought in Brecalo, who is good. I'm glad. But we also brought in no one to really replace Mauricio. Nico is not Mauricio. They're two different styles of players. Not only that, he's old. As someone of close to that age, I feel old. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not running that much. And I understand his fitness was great during the test when he was coming in. But that doesn't mean anything to me when I have yet to see much on the field of creating chances. We haven't seen players create the chances and then finish it. Minnesota United, when we played against them, we finally saw a little taste of it. But if we can't finish the ball, it doesn't matter. And how many times are our chances going to be coming from crosses? How many times are we going to try and cross the ball instead of running a direct play? It's unacceptable. The performances from these players have not been great. Now, granted, we had a very long distance travel from the start of the season, even actually before the start of the season, when we went to Northwest Canada. But that should have been considered during the offseason to create depth for this team. With now Cesar gone, he's out injured. We have now Wilder, who is out on a red card. We have no one left in the midfield to really give us support. Going into Atlanta, who is a very good team at the moment. The concern should be here. We're out 9 points already at the start of the season. We have no Champions League trophy in front of us anymore. So all those games we wasted trying to get further into the cup is gone. Not only in that, but we got embarrassed on the way out. If it wasn't for the fact that 2 handballs were happened in the penalty box in Tigres, it would have been 4-0. When they went down the player, it didn't even feel like we had an advantage. I truly do not understand what is going on in the ownership ability to go out and buy the players that we need to perform better. This is a team that is playing moneyball soccer when you have ownership who has the money. Now, granted, I don't have that money, and I can't force people to spend that money. If I had that money, God, that'd be a different story. But this is concerning. When we are the lowest paying team as far as wages go, and then the expectation is we're going to win the Shield. You can't play Moneyball. Even the A's didn't win the World Series. Okay, Brad Pitt didn't get as far as he would have liked. So this is something that is of concern. Why are we always starting the season trying to play catch up? If you want to win the Supporter Shield, if you want to have a home field advantage, you have to start the game from the start off the ground running. You can't play catch up. If you want to play catch up, you're never going to get further than you should. If we didn't have a slow start last season, we could have actually had a real chance of winning the Supporter Shield last year, but we didn't. And those points make a difference in what this team does and where our placement is. The reason why we got into Champions League this year, Zach, is because we were in second. Cincinnati was the Supporter Shield winner. So because they were number 1 in the East, it goes down to the second place team in the East, and that's how we got in. So if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be in this conversation. We wouldn't be playing Tigres. We beat up a Canadian team who doesn't have the depth and the ability as we do, but we finally went up against Tigres at home, didn't do anything at home, and then got smacked. I have not seen one player on this team that has shined except for Duncan, which if he wasn't here, I don't know what would have happened. We probably wouldn't have any goals going into the season so far. I mean, that's just what it is. Because of the failure of Blackburn, that's where we're at. And that is shameful that we are in this position. Everybody ranked us high. Everyone did. And we did nothing. We have provided nothing. We tied against Montreal, got embarrassed to a world audience against Miami. Okay, and we all joked about how Miami got beaten up in Saudi Arabia. Look again, that's us. We just got embarrassed in front of the world. And then Minnesota United, who should not have won that game, we became the Cardiac Cats. And the fact that the players really didn't stand up to try and come back to win after the Minnesota United guy came over to the Ruckus side, taking off his shirt, and both sides are talking crap about each other, but to not still try to come back is shameful. It was a shameful performance. I think we're buying players that should not be bought. I don't understand still why we bought Nico Loderto. I think he's a great player back then, but Seattle Sounders got rid of him. Seattle Sounders, who is a winning team, who has won the MLS Cup, who has won the Champions League, didn't want him anymore. So why are we picking up the scraps of people who got left behind by their own club? I think if the Wolves are very serious about trying to make this fan base come back and to win and go forward, you have to start the ground running and spend the money and buying the players that need to be bought. We all were disappointed this offseason. That's cool that we got Luis. It's cool we got Brecalo. But that didn't fill the situation that we had. I also argue is that it's the same thing, and this is a long shot, but hear me out. It's the same thing that happened with DK was the same thing that was going to happen to Duncan. We didn't want to pay the players who were doing really well, who made a difference. We said we'd rather sell them and go find another player like them and hope it works out. And we've done that twice, and that so far has not worked out. We did it with Kara, and now we're doing it with Lewis. If we would have just paid them to try to convince them to stay in the league, they would have been here. But we didn't want to pay them. And that to me is crazy. Now, granted, Duncan's still here, but if you think he's not going to try and move out again, come on. I come to the games, we all come to the games hoping that something good is about to happen. But when was the last time since last season that we felt like we were doing good? And don't mention the Canadian team, because the Canadian team wasn't on the same skill level. Not even close.
Say 13 seconds into that Minnesota game.
I know the Minnesota game was not good.
No, but 13 seconds in, I thought we were doing good.
I thought we
2 minutes later, another story.
I've watched enough soccer when those things happen that's a blip of lack of concentration at the start, where a one simple error creates it, but then you don't hold that position. 2 minutes
That's
later,
the bad thing.
2 minutes later, you have the same thing that they just went through. Come on. This team needs to look in the mirror and figure out what it is and what identity they want to play with. I don't know what to really think of the team in the sense what the Wilfs have come in and what they have brought to the table compared to the old ownership, except for by a couple small little things like Torres and a few other stuff. We could say that they got us to the Open Cup, but I would also argue and say that a lot of the stuff from the old ownership was still here with all their fingerprints on it. That is what got them to the Open Cup win. I just don't see, and I'm not trying to raise alarm bells. I'm not in panic mode, but I'm disappointed that we are continuously trying to play catch up in the league, continuously being embarrassed on international TV with Wayne Rooney and now Messi. It's playing all the time. Why? Can this ownership, can this front management give Oscar the people he needs, the players and the coaches, whatever he needs to succeed? Because you can't go from second place in the Supporter Shield last year, not change anything, and then have this issue. It doesn't make sense. The only thing that can make sense is that the league got better and ownership got lazy and they didn't do anything about it. And they were hoping that what was working last year was going to work this year. But things keep progressing. Things keep going forward. But Orlando City wants to stand still and hope that it still works out. Granted, we may turn it around. And God, I hope it does. But I'm tired of watching the first part of our season, like last year, start off slow. That's all I got. I love your viewpoints.
All right. First thing I got to say is I can hear the passion in your voice and I love it. So props to you for that. We know that you care about this club and there is not a lot correct that is happening right now. So for you to be able to say it in that manner and not just kind of go off and be crazy, fair play to you. Don't know if I'd be able to do the same.
It's a matter of, again, I'm not Oscar out. I'm not. I don't know if I would say I'm angry. I would more or less say I'm probably disappointed. I think that's probably where I'm at. I am probably cooked. It's been a long day. This has been stewing since yesterday.
No, you just did cook. Yeah, no, you just did cook.
I'm still learning this lingo. I just learned. It took me a year and some change to know what fire and lit was because they're both the same thing. In order to start a fire, you have to light something. But I don't. Whatever.
That's
we'll get.
Never seen it again.
I had my nephew just taught me what Riz is, and I really.
Oh boy.
I know, but I cannot be the only one who feels this way in the sense of that maybe it's not anger, but it's disappointment, and it's disappointing that we're buying the wrong things, we're investing in the wrong stuff. I got a striker who came from Syria, who's a very good player, but he's old. We got a guy, Nico Laduro, who came from Seattle, great player, but he's old and it doesn't fit in the system. These players are not fitting. You can't tell me Lewis, who comes from Atlanta, who's been banging in goals before the injury, but he was doing, that he's just on a stint. Nico Laduro, who is not connecting with the other players. And please, and I love the man, Rodrigo Schlegel. Love the man. I can't even look at him right now.
Yep.
I cannot look in that man's direction. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. But this is not the same team from last year in the sense of mentality. And you're not wrong. There's something got to be wrong with Pedro. That I've never seen someone collapse like that. I really haven't. But you're probably, it could be something family, could be something I don't know. But this isn't it. This is get a psychiatrist into there. That's what they did in what was it? What was that Apple TV thing they brought? But that stuff is real.
Yeah.
There's something wrong. But if the Wilfs want to seriously take this league seriously, and they want to make a real run, besides getting knocked out in the playoffs in the first or the second round, put your money where your mouth is. Go spend the money on real players who are actually really good and put them into the system. We all said this team needs a number 10. Every pundit has said this team needs a number 10. And this ownership and the leadership, and again, I'm not blaming Oscar because he probably wanted the number 10. They all stuck their hands in their ears, their fingers in their ears, and went la 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 la, and we got nothing. So now we have no true playmakers. So we have to cross balls from the wing into the box instead of playing how we should be playing. Especially if you know who Lewis is, they play direct. They don't play crosses. There's a real build-up. Serie A is a very build-up, straightforward game. It's not. They don't really cross the ball as much compared to what we're doing. Why are we doing this?
I think that's probably where we just get used to having the likes of Kara and Duncan, who are big bodies. I could probably get to the end of those crosses, but like you said, with Luis, you kind of have to change the way you get crosses into the box.
We're also getting shut down in the midfield. We're getting completely disrupted and shut down in the midfield. So how are we supposed to play direct and through the middle of the ball when we can't chain together 2 to 3 passes? That to me is where the alarm bells go off. Is that the best pairing in the league last year has now probably tied for top 5 giveaways in the league in the first couple of games of the season.
But that's because we don't have Mauricio anymore. Mauricio was the maestro. Now, granted, if he wasn't on his game, Mauricio, you could feel the difference. But now you don't have Mauricio, so now you can see the entire difference of the field. Nico is not a playmaker in that sense of what Mauricio was. This is 2 different things. We've lost someone who was in charge of the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
And in some sense, we've lost a real leader in the locker room as well. And I'm not saying Jansson's not a good leader. I think it's weird to watch him not run up to the referee and scream and get a yellow card for just screaming like that. I have to say, it's like watching a dog on a leash, and I'm like, who are you, dude? But but these are these little things. There's no real leadership. And there's no direction. So, like you said, we getting controlled in the midfield. If you lose the midfield, that's it. The middle's gone.
Yep.
There's no way to get out of the defense, and there's no way to attack the ball properly.
No, we allow teams to press us high up the pitch and force us out to the wings, and that just doesn't suit the players we have currently on the field, and it shows.
And they know that, and the teams know that. The teams know if they can push Orlando out to the wings to force them to cross the ball, they know that they can put guys in the box and outnumber the box and get the ball away. That's soccer 101. So we're no longer the protagonists. That's the big thing.
It's a massive thing. We're just going to be a team that, well, you could say that we were the protagonists against Fort Lauderdale. We were trying to go after the game, but it played into exactly what they wanted to happen, because they knew that they had the attacking prowess to let us make that mistake and then go and finish off all 42 chances that they had in that game. So in the one game that you could say that we were we controlled the match. Really, did we? Because it played into their hands perfectly.
No, you're not wrong. I'm noticing these things from where we are, and man, we're not far from each other in the stands in the support section.
Mm.
But you look back at the replays, you look at the reviews, and you just go, man, this team is just very disjointed, and the missing links are really showing. Cartagena and Cesar are great center defensive midfielders. They know how to bully the midfield. But if there's no one up there to start to give the ball up to the offense through the direct middle, you run into a problem. And they know that. They know Nico does not have that ability. You know, you can't take guys from teams that are from winning teams who discard people and then you try to pick them up and you go, maybe it'll work out. I mean, I love Ivan, but Ivan has now become the forward of Rwanda. He's Rwanda 2.0. He's just speed. Speed doesn't mean anything at this point anymore. So we've replaced we've literally replaced the Rwanda with another Rwanda.
I was listening to Lions blog last night, 2 nights ago. Gavin, also another great Orlando City podcast, and he brought up the fact that Ivan Angulo, whatever you want to call him, is more of a defensive winger right now than he is attacking. And what we need right now is not a defensive winger. We need someone who knows what they're going to do when they get into the final third, and they know that they're going to do it correctly, and something is going to come off, whether it be the final pass, the shot on goal to force a save, hopefully a goal. But that is never going to be the case with Angulo, and it never was. So for us to re-sign him also goes back to your point of front office. Did we not want to splash the cash? Was the scouting just wrong? There's a lot of things that could be said.
Wait, here's the better one. Before the fan reacts from the Minnesota game, someone actually was saying, not on camera, was going, I can't believe Four is not a really good wing back. The kid's not a wing back. He's not a defenseman. You've made Forehouse an out of position player. And you can see he's not a defensive guy. Why are we taking players and putting them in positions that make no sense to them? We're literally playing money ball with players and out of position players and playing them in. And I gotta hope it turns around this season. Please, I'm not hitting the panic button. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. And I'm tired of being disappointed. But I love the club. I love being here. I love being on these live streams with you for a bit. Very passionate, obviously, but this and everyone listening should be disappointed in the direction that the ownership has gone in the way that they're taking this club. You have the money. If you wanted to be a part of this project, you need to put up or shut up. Okay? When you have that money, you have a responsibility. Okay? Because if we all had that money, we would take the same responsibility. And I haven't seen that yet since the ownership came in.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to continue listening. I love you guys. It's a great pod, as always. Good luck. Have fun in Atlanta. Be safe. Travel well. And hopefully it goes all right. But I'm not gonna bite my tongue on that one. Hold my breath. Have a good one.
Can't lie. Tuesday's result almost made us all reconsider everything that we just did. Being like, are we even gonna go up there just to have to deal with this? Like,
yeah.
Wait, before I go, did anyone else feel like when we were finally 4-2, that there was we were in the back of our head, that maybe it was a chance that we come back? Because hope is the worst kind of poison. And you're like, all right, well, it's tired, but that, anyway. All right. See you around, boys.
All right, buddy.
See you.
Yeah. I had absolutely zero hope. I can't remember who I was talking to. I don't think it was any of you, but I was just saying that I have a bad feeling about this game tonight. And we saw how that went. And we didn't really create chances in that match. We were just lucky that we got 2 penalty calls, and that's why we had those 2 goals.
Yeah,
I had a little hope after. Go ahead, Dave.
No, you got it. You got it.
I was just gonna say I had a little hope at 2-1, but outside of that, that's I couldn't find any.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was. You guys know I was pretty pessimistic in the chat during the game. I had zero hope. When you just have that feeling, you have that feeling, and it's unfortunate to have that feeling about your club, but it's just the way the season has gone. David, you've been waiting here very patiently. Let's get you in here.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
Well, what can I say that Jonathan already did not? As I sit here in my Jabba the Hutt couch, pondering about the misery about this club right now. Well, somebody told me that the beauty of football is in the misery. That way, when the glory comes, you get to appreciate it. And like I was telling you when I saw you guys Saturday after the game, I'm not gonna let some troll on social media try to take the joy away. Because this doesn't affect real life. When I met with you guys at the Pareja Perspective, I left very hopeful. As you guys know, I was very vocal on the fact that I felt that we needed a change as a manager. Um, Oscar Pereira had turned it around, got a second place. Had it not been for the unfortunate red card on Rodrigo Schlegel, I believe that we could have gone the distance and quite possibly right now be celebrating a championship. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be because football is cruel and unpredictable. But this year, we have seen a complete destruction of what was making us good. Everywhere I went, every podcast, every talking head had us as a supporter shield contender, as an MLS contender, as a team that was going to be top four in the league. And we are not living to those expectations at the moment. You have seen that if you go on Facebook and all the other platforms, people going puppy out and saying a bunch of things, fire this guy, fire that guy. When the guys come on Saturday, boo Pedro and things like that. Um, Last year, I was the target of people saying, I hope, David, they fire you from your job because you have this opinion about Oscar. You are the reason why people are being violent against the players and the managers for lesser things than what I see people posting online. And people that were super puppy in now want to go with a U-Haul and torches and pitchforks and get the guy out of town. So I don't understand this double this double morale where when you say it is cool and when I say it is bad. We had an opportunity to make the changes. We had Tite, who we saw at the friendly. We could have had that guy. Chose not to. Okay, so we rolled the dice with Oscar. And I have said it sarcastically that I'm Mr. Papi into the 25th power. I'm gonna go out all Thelma and Louise style with everybody from the fan base locked up in the trunk. You wanted him, we're gonna go all the way. Firing Oscar right now is not gonna do anything if we don't have a plan about who we're gonna bring. And to them that keep saying Papi out, now I really ask, who are we gonna bring? I had the opportunity to meet Mark Welf this past Saturday, and I kicked myself in the head because I did not have the balls to say those things to him. I said, "Hey, can I have a picture?" And I said something polite about some causes that he supports that I support, and shook his hand, took the picture, and he left. But the fact is, friends, that on a night that we were celebrating our glorious past, yes, it was minor league. 3,000 people were showing up to the games. Most people here wouldn't identify club hero Sean Kelly if they had a gun to their head. But the fact of the matter, it was a glorious night seeing these former players who have stayed in our community, who are contributing to our community. Seeing Tally Hall in his Orlando Police uniform to me spoke volumes about who they are past the football years, and for the result to be the way it was, which in my opinion we started hot. Then Pedro made a stupid mistake, a mistake that I have said to many people that have been sitting by me for the last 2 years. One day he's gonna get caught because he does that every game and gets away with it. This time he bit him in the rear end, and if you look at it, if you want to be honest, that was the difference maker for that game. The goal that we surrendered for the loss is a textbook goal kick that we misjudged, and the players that we had at the time, for lack of experience, whatever, they just made the mistakes. I believe in that respect, Robin Jansen gets out of position, and then Mikey makes the decision of leaving the man on mark. And when the ball is passed to that man, he's completely way behind, and there was nothing that we could have done. Um, I just about Mexico. I tell people all the time, uh, as long as MLS has the restrictive rules for the roster as they have for. I was 20 years old when this league was born. Since we always have the same restrictive rules, and in 28 years, only one MLS team has won the CONCACAF, and it was the Seattle Sounders at the detriment of losing an Open Cup, not making playoffs for the first time in their history, and obviously not going to contend for the MLS Cup. So if we are saying that Liga MX can show up unrestricted roster, huge rosters, it's like showing up to a fight with a hand tied behind our back. This is what it is. And then you have Mexican fans talking all sorts of trash. We lost in a night where Philadelphia Union, who are no chumps, got battered, right? At least we scored goals. That there were penalties, okay. In that game, I don't know what Thorhausen was thinking about, basically shouldering that man to the ground. And it was embarrassing. We couldn't get a goal on the run of play. Duncan comes in at the end, and I don't know about you guys, and I'll finish here in a minute. I'm concerned that our best scoring player, our best attacking player, has an expiration date on his back. That man is gonna leave. Blackburn looks like he may fall into the relegation zone. They're only a point out of the relegation zone. I don't see them coming for him they're gonna go and be in League One. Because if they're gonna be in League One, getting that, and my team Stevenage fails to get to the championship through the playoffs, then I need to make some phone calls to go get him. If League One teams have $17 million stashed somewhere, and that's it, man. I think in times like this, either fan bases get galvanized or they crumble. Down south, they crumble. They had 12,000 people attending their games, dead last in attendance. Messi and the Barca boys come in, and then all of a sudden, you get the show they have. We can allow that to happen because we have to be faithful to our club and be supportive. At the same time, the ownership needs to realize that goodwill can only go so far. Because right now, you're asking me to pay for parking, to buy tickets, to support your extracurricular activities with all these stupid tournaments that you have around us. Then on top of that, you gotta pay for Apple Plus. You want me to pay $200 for retro shirts that half of your fan base doesn't even know what they stand for. Because I had an incident with a guy telling me that nobody knows who these players are, and meanwhile he's wearing a USL logo hat, USL logo shirt. And I told that man, I said, "Oh, you don't know who they are? They're legends that will never buy beers in this town." That's what I told that guy. That's to me is insane that we're celebrating a culture and a history that half the people don't even care, but they sure as hell can go buy the $200 jerseys for something they don't understand. And I've been here since the beginning, man. And I've said to many people, if people wanna stop going to the games because we're not winning, go ahead. I don't remember none of you in 2011, in 2012, in 2013. I don't remember none of you. Anybody that went to the games in USL knows everybody knew each other because it was the same people week in, week out. So if you want to quit on the team because the things are rough, then you are just a glory hunter. You're not a real football fan. Football is cruel and unpredictable. We say that all the time. Football is cruel and unpredictable. And like it says on the tunnel, written on the wall, in the good and more so in the bad. So that's all I have to say about the situation. In a league where 66% of teams make playoffs, there's a great chance for us to make them. We still have the wild card game. And I leave you with this, guys. David Valentin, your friend, and on the Capo Stand podcast, official stance is we're not gonna cover anything related to Leagues Cup. We're not gonna go to the games. We're not gonna sell our tickets. We're gonna transfer them. We're gonna leave those seats open, so they know that to our fan base, to MLS in general, because while we all support different teams, I'm of the belief that we are rivals for 90 minutes, friends for life. The fact is that the American football supporter needs to be respected. Do not support a cash grab like Leagues Cup. Stay home. Don't watch the games. They don't mean anything, anyways. It's a made up trophy. The Open Cup is our national trophy. We have to prove to the people overseas that are looking at us like we're insane by relegating our national trophy that in a country where there's very little football culture, a trophy over 100 years old. We have to support. We have to let them know we're not going to be pushed or bought into their BS. We won the Open Cup, and the Open Cup needs to be respected. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to cover the games. We're not going to go to the games. We're going to pretend that it did not happen. And I pray to God that Orlando City is out of this farce as soon as possible so they can be ready to go and fight for the playoffs. With that, thank you very much, guys. And thank you for always having this platform for the fans.
Thank you, man.
All right, guys. See you then.
Thank you, David.
Yep. See you.
A lot of good stuff there, man. You know, I feel like everybody in the fan base is on the same page with we got to get it figured out. You know, I'm like, you know, you guys know I'm into sports medicine and sports science and stuff like that. I got a little background of that. And they say that sports psychology is the science of success. And that's why it's so important, because when you're a professional athlete, you know, physically they're all around the same level. It's the mentality and the mind that makes the difference between these. So I like to say that sports psychology is the science of success and failure, because you can see both of those just in mentality and mindset things. So I think for me, it's as simple as these guys getting their heads right and starting to play good football again.
Yeah.
I think,
Go ahead. I was waiting for you, and then you didn't say anything, but go for it.
no, you got it.
Too late. You're up.
I'll say, it has to be a mentality thing, because nothing has changed on paper, right? It's still Oscar, still the same midfield. The mistakes that we have are not us trying something new. It's just small, like football IQ mistakes that we have.
Yeah, and there's that conversation that we were talking about with Pedro earlier, possibly something off the field. Who knows? Everybody in that squad could unfortunately be in a bad situation off the field. You never know what's going on in somebody's life. So at that point, you just got to hope and pray that whatever's going on the outside is getting better, because football is the most important thing. But 99% sure that not everybody in the squad is having a bad time in life. That would just be very unfortunate.
No, it's just more about like mentality, just going into the games. Like, how are we preparing ourselves? Are we, you know, they say that Pele, one of his pre-match rituals was literally to go off to the side from everybody else, cover his eyes with a towel, and he would visualize himself completing everything that he did during the game. And visualization is a great tool, but it's all about how you prepare yourself and what kind of mentality are we approaching the match with. He visualized himself doing the things that he does all the time, visualized himself winning the World Cup. You know, these are the things, the preparation, minor tweaks, I think was all we need personally.
Yeah. It could be a massive thing. It could make a massive difference on what happens in your match, how you play, and whatnot. So if it's something like that, yeah, just gotta get your mind right.
Yeah, that just
the thing is,
boils into
the mistakes we're seeing, like Dave said, are just stupid, basic level mistakes. So it's got to be a mentality thing.
You'll say that for at least for Pelea, it definitely helps with his confidence, which is one thing that I don't think anyone in the squad really has right now. Maybe one or two players has, but I mean, every time they get on the ball, they look like scared, skittish. It's kind of like we are looking to get rid of it rather than looking to find a pass. But I feel like we end up seeing that at our high school soccer games, which is really frustrating. Because for a professional level, you expect a certain standard, which we're not seeing.
Yeah, that pass from Caesar during the Fort Lauderdale match that led to their first goal, it was just kind of panic. It was like, oh, one touch, let me get rid of it. And it's just like, calm down, take a second, look up, listen to whoever's behind you or in front of you telling man on, time, turn, or probably in a different language on the pitch, but it's the same thing. You just got to be composed and know what you're doing. You're out on the field for a reason. We signed you for a reason. The scouts have gone to watch you and they see what happens. It's like you just got to have confidence in yourself at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of circles back around to even what Johnny was saying about, we didn't replace Mauricio. We brought in a 10, but we didn't replace Mauricio. That was the guy that was our tempo setter, the composure on the ball, the guy that you knew you can get him the ball and he was going to hold it up and find a pass or draw a foul, reorganize the game. We don't have that in this team right now, and it's a huge miss.
Yeah, it is. I don't know exactly what is going on with Ladero, if it was just kind of like maybe a one-off thing where he played really well against Flamengo and it was a preseason friendly, but it's not the same Ladero that we saw in that match.
100%. I don't think also the movement off the ball is there like we've seen in the second half of the season from last season. It looks a lot more similar to what we saw in the first half, where if you kind of look at our center backs when they have the ball, specifically Robin Brecalo, no one is like moving to open spaces. No one's checking in, checking out. Everyone's flat-footed, waiting for the ball to move rather than creating space themselves.
You have us beat when our 10s are having to come back to the back line to receive the ball to get into the game. That's when you have us beat. And as soon as we get into that position where we see Ladero and Ojeda dropping really deep to get on the ball to try to create something, it's just never good from that point on. I mean, we were talking about it before, just, we're very one-dimensional at the moment. I mean, if I was an opposing manager, I'm going to come out and I'm going to press us high right off the bat. I'm going to squeeze the midfield and force the ball out wide. And it's a recipe for success every single time right now.
Well, again, because I'll say once we get into that position out wide to put the ball in the box, it always seems to be the wrong ball. No matter what it is, it's either we try to what's it called, set it back for someone who's not there making the run into the box. We try playing it back post to someone who's not there. It's always the wrong ball.
Let's just bring in the comments. Steele says, let's face it, outside of Duncan, nobody has played well.
No. Duncan and Robin. Robin's had some moments, but he's also had a lot of very good moments, a lot of integral moments. So those are the only two players that I feel like are positive for us right now.
I'd throw in a slight shout for Enrique.
Enrique's looked bright. Yes, he's absolutely looked bright, but he hasn't gotten a lot of minutes.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I think I've compared it even in this live stream. I said it's like Mudryk. The man scores a goal, and then the next match, Pochettino just says, no, go find your seat on the bench. It's not as... Okay, what do you want to talk about United's attack this season? That's not.
Where are you?
You just got to give that man his little run of form. Like, let him start 2 or 3 matches in a row. If it's not going well, sure, we bring Angulo in because that's the only other option that we really have. But give the man a little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it on the podcast. Like, I really don't know what else this guy can do. What else does he need to do to earn himself some minutes? He's going in there. He's creating opportunities. We're seeing more shots from him than we are in Angulo. Yep. And personally, I don't notice a huge defensive drop-off between the two.
Yeah, it's not as massive as one would think it to be. and we don't really need a fully defensive winger right now, and that's what Angulo is. I am going to excuse myself for a second. I really got to use a restroom, so you two have fun.
All right. Sounds good.
Nice.
All right. Well, we can't pull the chat up on the screen, but we can kind of keep going with that. But you had something to say?
No, I was going to say, yeah, I mean, I agree. I want to see Enrique get more minutes because, like I said earlier, I feel like he's the only person on this team so far who's looked like a natural winger. When you see Angulo get on the ball, you know it's kind of stutter step, knock the ball 15 yards forward, run onto it. Enrique looks crafty, right? He can take you inside, he can take you down the line, he can put a ball in the box. He's not afraid to cut and take the shot, which I feel like is what we're missing in our wingers. Like Facundo, let's be honest, this season hasn't been that guy. He's not the one that's going to cut and take a shot. He's the one that's looking for Dan to run the overlap because he's not confident in himself to take that shot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. He's got to get that right foot figured out, and he's got to be a little more confident and take those shots. That's really what we've been asking of Facundo for the past 2 seasons. So he's got to take that step. Hasn't been there early in the season. Johnny says Enrique looks decent, but has not put anything on frame. I mean, obviously that's the truth, but Ojeda's
I thought he had a hit against, was it Calvary?
Yeah, no, he had that fantastic goal against Calvary, but we kind of keep talking about it on the pod, and we say it's going to reinforce all the wrong things that we're doing because he did hit that screamer. It's just like we're going to keep trying to make that goal happen. But I feel like he's looked brighter. He's better on the ball. He's creating opportunities. If he gets a run of games and starts figuring out where people are, you never know.
True. What do you think, Zach?
Back.
I think that drinking a full bottle of water, having an Alka-Seltzer cold and sinus, and a protein shake right before stream was not a great idea because I have really had really had to pee.
Nice.
It's the combo of winners. Real quick before we get back into it, just make sure that if you're new here, or if you're not, you hit that like button and that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. If you're on Twitter, go ahead and like the tweet and retweet it out. There is a StreamYard link in the description on YouTube and in the comments section on Twitter. This is an open platform. You already saw we had some people hop in here. You guys go ahead and hop in here and speak your mind. Until then, we'll kind of keep going through the comment section.
That we will. I am going to go back to Johnny. What a goat. Nobody's really moving to space when off the
ball. I'm guessing.
Yeah, but I'm going to give him a hard time for saying off the field because it looks like the players don't know what to do. It looks like you don't know what to do either. And he also goes on to say Enrique looks decent, but has not put anything on frame. I mean, he put an absolute belter in the top right corner against the dentist/goalkeeper from Calvary.
Yeah, we already talked about this, but you're a little behind.
You're late.
All right. Well,
the next one we haven't gotten to.
Steele says our lack of depth all over the pitch is very concerning. Sign or trade for some players at center back in midfield is a must. So going to go off the comment, but I'm going to ask you two a question. Did we overlook the depth that we thought that we had coming into the season? Because I feel like we were all pretty high, like on the roster that we had.
I think we overestimated, for sure, the ability of said depth. I don't know. We kind of fell for it. We kind of fell for the hype around the team. I can't lie. We're normally pretty like, it's Orlando City. We'll see what we do. But this year, I think we all kind of fell for the hype. And we're like, no, we did really well last year. And, we only got better. And it's like, yeah, but if you kind of look at it, like we outperformed our XG. We outperformed our XGC. Like, I'm not saying it was a fluke, but like we clearly needed to get better in certain areas.
So the one thing I don't think we did underestimate was our center mid depth. Like we talked about it, we have not Angulo, Araujo, Felipe, Cartagena. After that, we don't really have anyone. We saw Araujo get hurt. He's out. Cartagena suspended for 2 to 3 games. I don't know the MLS rules for this, but
I think it's 3 games.
Different. 3, heard. So he's out 3 games. Now we have Felipe and God knows who. I mean, we talked about that, I feel like, pretty often on the podcast. We need more 8/6 depth.
Yeah, Kaczewski looked bright in preseason, albeit preseason, but I think we could all almost say that we expected a little bit more from him thus far this season. Maybe like not starting, obviously, but just like coming on as a sub, maybe a rotation with Felipe. Like Felipe is obviously our third choice. I would say Kaczewski is probably our fourth, but I would expect like a flip flop between the 3 and 4 spot between Kaczewski and Felipe.
Well, I think we're definitely going to see that on Saturday at a minimum, or Sunday at a minimum, because I don't think we really have any other option at the moment. I mean, we can move Dan back into the midfield, but then we're doing a lot of nonsense all over again after a guy we just converted to be a right back. We're just going to be like, yeah, go back into the midfield again. Like you say it all the time, being a midfielder, it's more different than anywhere else on the pitch. You're always having to check. You're always having to look around. You're setting the tempo. So, you know, he's become accustomed to, yes, inverting, but I don't know. I think we're going to see Koshevsky play on Sunday.
Probably going to have to.
I mean, in all honesty, I feel like this is a game where Oscar pulls some wild stuff, and we end up seeing Kyle Smith in it at the 8.
I said it to him at the gym. If Kyle Smith's not starting in the back line, or Thomas Williams or Abdi, I don't even know that I'm gonna be able to sit there and watch the full 90, my guy.
I mean, that's something that you could see happening. Like you have, like you said, Kaczewski, you've got Dan, who you converted to a right back from that center mid position that you could easily move back in there. Because after watching I think Tigres game, yeah, Dan may not be used to that anymore, but a lot of his dribbles ended up going back to the midfield. So I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised to see him back in the middle.
Yeah, there could be a lot of weird rotation this match on Sunday. You said it. There's actually a slight possibility that Kyle could be playing in the middle if he doesn't fully trust Kaczewski yet. A midfield of Kaczewski and Felipe doesn't sound like the best thing. Neither does Kyle Smith and Felipe or Kaczewski. No offense, but then I think the smartest thing to do is unfortunately take Dan from the right back spot, throw him in the midfield, and then have Mikey play right back because it's another competent right back that knows how to play the position, and then Dan is a midfielder, and he can go and play that.
We're doing a whole bunch of nonsense, like I said. I mean, we have to. We're forced into it at this point. I don't know. Again, no matter what, it's going to be less ideal against playing against the midfield in Atlanta. That's very good at this moment, and Thiago Almada, who has started on fire. So,
yeah. Speaking of not starting on fire, I have our XG for the whole season, which is only 3 games, but it is 5th in the league currently at 5.8. 4.11 of that XG comes from the game against Minnesota. We scored 2 goals with, I believe, against Montreal and Fort Lauderdale. It was both under, obviously under 1 because we're at 5.8. So it was like 0.9 in each of those matches. So you got the 5th best XG in the league, but you're just not finishing anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, I pointed out to you, I think, when we went out to do fan reacts, but like, I mean, I named 5 chances off the back of my hand that probably should have gone to the back of the net. But you have Caesar's back post header that went over, he straight around. You got Felipe's that I think he straight to the keeper. Ojeda had a chance. Duncan had one that he kind of whiffed on. I think Mikey had one too.
Yep, late in the game.
He whiffed. Yep. I mean, there's 5 right there. 5 really good chances, not just out of nowhere. 5 could have been 7-5 or 7-2.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we created in that game, that's for sure, but we couldn't finish. So, we didn't really create or finish against T-Grace. So I'm interested to see what happens on Sunday, how we come out, how we line up. It's all speculation at this point. We can't really get into Oscar's head.
Yeah, and we try to do with the predicted lineups, but about 90% of the time, those are wrong. JD Ski 892 said when we have a wide open overlap and they don't use it, I saw it a lot in the Montreal game. I think Rafael Santos had like 6 or 7 crosses in that match.
Yeah, but it's even like the Muriel thing that you and I and Bryce were talking about before the recording, where Muriel's coming down that left side and Enrique's there in an opportunity to make that overlap to the outside and draw one of the defenders away from Muriel rather than leave him there and try to make a run towards the inside and have him 2-on-1. And he still finds a way to get the cross off, but it's just like, what are we doing? We're all making the same run.
Yep. Yeah, that it is. Steele said I would move Dagger Dan back to the midfield and play Smith at the back. That's another possibility. You could play Kyle or Mikey right back. So you got 2 competent right backs and then Dagger Dan, who by trade is a midfielder. So not like our options could be worse.
Yeah, definitely could be worse, but it's not ideal.
Not great.
But it's
All
what
right.
we've got to work with. So.
I think we might be hitting final call. Heard. All right. Are we good with going final call?
That's fine.
Again, StreamYard link is in the chat if you want to hop in here really quick and talk some footy with us. Go ahead. It is 9:30. And about 9:30. Shut up. We in less than 24 hours now, we will be at the airport headed up to Atlanta. So that will be a fun, nice little weekend trip. Yeah. Us too. Him.
That mirrored camera is really throwing you off.
I don't even know. Is it? Yeah, I guess. Oh, wait. Can I? I think I can change that.
I've had mine mirrored for the entire time.
No, that's
it
not
works
even
out for me because I just do this.
Yeah, lucky. That's what happens when you're here on time, though. You got to do. Fuck this dickhead.
All right. Well, I think that is where we are going to end this one. We appreciate everybody tuning in. I will let you do your classic outro.
Yeah, well, we appreciate everybody being in here. I feel like this is definitely our most attended safe space up until this point. We do this every single Thursday, whether it's the 3 of us, whether it's 4 of us, or even just one of us. So make sure you keep your eye out on that. If you're new here, then make sure you give us a follow on X, give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube. Turn on that notification bell. We post quite often. If you find yourself coming back, then might as well just subscribe anyway. I mean, you're already coming back. It doesn't hurt anything. Yeah, we really appreciate everybody coming in here. Appreciate you guys for holding it down while I was gone.
That's what we
You're
do.
very welcome. Yep.
Yeah, so stay tuned for more episodes and more lives, and hopefully some more exciting news starting soon.
Indeed. Exciting. Indeed.
Sir, you know what we're talking about.
I honestly don't think he might not.
I probably
yeah,
don't.
he might. But
All right.
anyway,
There's not a lot going on.
appreciate everybody.
Right now.
There never is.
Check us out on Believe too. Forget to throw that in there every time. Check us out on Believe. The website BLEAV. We've got our own little webpage there. They appreciate any type of interaction we give them. and we appreciate any type of interaction you give them as well.
All right. We will talk to y'all next week. Again, wherever we see you, we'll see you. All right. Good night.
See you.